we welcome our long-term friend and public servant, Senator Floyd Nicholson, to our virtual breakfast meeting this morning. Paradoxically, it seems as if Senator Nicholson's public profile has actually increased since he entered into his next phase of his life beyond the state Senate. Senator Nicholson, to what do you attribute that to?
Well, Bill, I just believe in staying involved in the community, doing whatever I can to make our community better for everyone. And the only way you can do that is by being involved, trying to do the positive things to make the community better for all. So that's my commitment. Although I'm not in the Senate, I want to do it here in my community and in our state, because we have to work together to improve the community, because there's something that everyone can do.
Amen. You know what? You can take you out of the Senate, but we can't get you out of the community. You seem to be more involved than ever. But first, this is the first legitimate question here, and the most important one. How is your health, and have you been vaccinated?
Yes, Mamie and myself, we have received both of our shots. In fact, tomorrow will be 3 weeks since we had the second shot.
Oh.
Well, we're trying to stay safe. We did not have any problems with either one of the shots. Mamie had a little soreness in her arm. I didn't have any, and none of the symptoms or anything. So we've been doing well. But we are still wearing our masks and practicing safe 6 feet as much as possible and staying in the house as much as possible.
Yes, because we're not done yet. And until poor folk like me, who's in group 99Z, gets our turn, we got to stay safe. And I'm keeping a low profile as well. Last week, there was a phenomenal write-up in the Index Journal about you and Mrs. Mamie Nicholson. And while I knew some of your stories, I didn't know a lot of the picture, and they did a good job with it. And I'll make sure to include a link to that article in our meeting notes. But the experiences and racial history that both of you experienced firsthand, you with the Orangeburg Massacre and Mamie with the Greenwood High race riots in 1972, both of those are detailed in that article. How would you compare the country's climate then with the Black Lives Matter marches from last year and the Capitol riots from early this year? In those 50 years, do you think this country has made any progress?
As far as in those areas, I see very little progress has been made. Because when I think about the Orangeburg Massacre, innocent people being killed, no one being charged, lives just lost and everything, and especially when you're there to witness it and know that nobody fired any shots to instigate that, from the student side. And then to look at what's going on with the Black Lives Matter, I don't see what much progress has been made in that area, because when you think about those that have been killed during the Black Lives Matter, has anyone been charged? Very few. So in that respect, I don't see where much change has occurred. We say a lot of time we made progress. Yeah, we made progress in certain areas, and there are certain areas we've not made much progress.
For a younger guy like myself, that those stories are history. That's history book material for me. And I tell you, if I'm 50 years from now in the year, 2071, and we're still dealing with this nonsense as if nothing's changed, I don't know how I could take that.
Yeah, and I tell you one thing, Bill, what really upset me when I think about the Orangeburg Massacre, what happened on February 8, 1968, there was not much media coverage about that incident. But look what happened 2 years later at Kent State. That went worldwide.
Right.
Worldwide, the coverage in that incident and everything, So it just go to show, those were just black students down there at South Carolina State, so it didn't matter that much. So, that's why I think it's important to realize that Black lives do matter. Each individual matters the same. That's what we're trying to say. Each life matters. It doesn't matter about your color of your skin, your religious affiliation or anything, your culture or anything. Each life shouldn't matter the same. And that's what the Black Lives Movement is about.
Right. Right. Well, I'm going to switch subject a little bit and talk about you for a second.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have always been in awe of some of the quote unquote soft skills you have, namely your ability to remember details about people you interact with. Not once in all the times we've spoken to each other have you forgotten my children, where they are in the country. You're asking how are they doing in college, and you even remembered my son just graduated. How are you able to remember that information? Because I know I'm not that interesting, so I'm assuming you can do this for everybody. How do you do that?
It just comes naturally, I think, Bill, a lot of times, In fact, my son, it was a strange incident happened yesterday. My son in Columbia, Michael, called me and everything. And he said, Daddy, he said, I'm in Publix right now. And he said, was buying groceries and used his debit card, I think, to check out. And said, the fella checking him out, say, hey, you're going to live to be 100 years old. He said, your name, Floyd Nicholson. He said, I know a man that's a good man, and he's a very good man, and he named Floyd Nicholson. So if you name Floyd Nicholson, and my son said, are you from Greenwood? And the fellow said, yeah. So that man you talking about is my father, And so Michael called me, and he said, fellow named Stan Mouse. I said, yeah, Stan Mouse. His mother was Martha Jane Mouse, a good friend of me and my wife. We spend time together, and everything. And so he handed the phone to me. I said, Stan, how you doing? You've been gone a long time. I hadn't heard from him in years, But when he mentioned the name, it just came back to me who he was and everything,
One thing as I observe the successful politicians, it's not always the raw intelligence they have or the education they received or even how hardworking they are. Sometimes it's these personal skills, that intimate connection you make with individuals, and the fact that you can retain it. See, I can hardly remember my own kids' names. I don't know how you're able to remember mine and everybody else's out there. It's absolutely incredible.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to go back a few months and talk for a second about your loss in the election last November. And It was absolutely crushing to many of us in the 4 counties that you had served. And even then, it still wasn't the most shocking defeat in South Carolina when you add great public servants like Representative Mandy Powers Norrell and Senator Vincent Shaheen. They all lost in their bids for reelection, and nobody saw that coming. So now that several months have passed and you've had some time to reflect and relax, do you have any insights or realizations or even regrets from that particular campaign?
No, Bill, I still don't have anything. Me and my wife talk all the time. We ran a campaign dealing with honor, trust, those things, integrity. And so we always said, win or lose, we're going to run a campaign with honor, trust, and integrity. And the main thing we've always said that is because after the campaign, the day after, win or lose, you still have to live in that community. So you don't want to do anything where you have to hang your head down and say, I did this, and people are looking at you funny and everything. So I just think about the future afterwards. How are you going to be received after the election, whether you win or lose? Are they going to say, oh, look what he did to win the election and everything? So I just think about, the future. Whether people can say, well, he ran a truthful campaign, a good campaign, regardless of the outcome. So I have no regrets. Anything I did, and everything.
You see the bigger picture for sure, and that there's always going to be a final reckoning that you have to account for.
Yes.
And like you said, sometimes winning or losing is not the most important thing in one's life.
That's right. That's exactly right.
The campaign that was run against you. And indeed, I characterize it as one that was more against you than for anything in particular that's substantial to the people of Greenwood. It really upset quite a few of our members. I won't name her by name, but there was one little old lady in our group that
I know.
who called me, and she threatened to single-handedly take down those attack signs in front of the movie theater. It made her so mad, and we had to talk her down from that. But I'm sure you've heard that same feedback.
Oh yes, been a time. But
did those?
I'll say one thing about the campaign. You know, during a presidential election, it's amazing how people tap into the national issues instead of the local issues. They tie them all in, and they want to ride in on the presidential, attention to the national issue, which is entirely different. They're entirely different. The local issues as opposed to the national issue. So, they just ride in on that coattail.
Yeah, Vincent Shaheen has a new podcast that he's out called Bourbon in the Back Room, and I'm hooked. I love it. I've been listening since episode 1. And his first episode, he said exactly what you said. He said, while most of what affects you are the politics at the local level, the voters and the candidates all tend 90% to run and make their decisions based on the national politics. And he says it's a paradox you can't get away from.
No, just like my opponent, he had the signs up with the presidents.
Yeah. Did those signs and mailings upset you on a personal level in any way?
Nope. I just let it run off my back, say, we're not worrying about it, do whatever.
That's amazing. And you know what? If there's anybody watching this who is considering a run for public office, and we certainly encourage it.
Yes, definitely.
That's a mentality you have to go in with. If you start to take things personally, you're going to find yourself in a world of hurt very soon.
Exactly. That's it.
Now, I will say that the Biden-Harris presidential victory and the success in Georgia with the two senators from Georgia, that really blunted some of that pain and brought us some hope for the direction of our nation as a whole. But we are feeling very directly the repercussions of what happened here in South Carolina. What's your take? Because I know you're still watching and following, and you still have friends that are out there. What's your take on the legislative priorities that this particular legislative class is pursuing?
Just crazy, I think. We got the virus epidemic going on, and that's not one of their top priorities down there. They go down, what was their top priority? Abortion. The top priority they wanted to deal with when people are dying, people being affected. The one that I have a friend over in Athens, dear friend. He was struck by the virus. He stayed in the hospital 4 weeks. I have a church member stayed in 4 weeks. The aftermath now having to learn how to walk again. It affects the lung, the breathing, major issues and everything. But they're down there concerned about other issues. Abortion as their top issue. I don't think they have the welfare of the citizens of our state as their top priority. It's just these mediocre things, that they want to bring to front, that they're always concerned about, that they're willing to deal with. And as long as they're in the majority, that's what because they call the shots,
Yeah, the way the economy is, the fact that schools are, teachers are nervous about going back to schools. You look at the top 3, and it's abortion, it's open carry firearms.
Yeah, open carry coming
and it has to do with some sort of sanctity of women's sports. Like, these are the critical issues of our state. Are you kidding me?
That's the major issue they have to, because they don't want to deal with the real issues that affect the people, because they're not concerned about the people. Overall, it's just a certain segment that they want to satisfy. And I say open carry, we're going to the wild, wild west. Just give everybody a gun on the side and just, like I watched the Westerns on TV, shoot it out and go ahead. That's all it takes.
So tell us, how have you been spending your time since the campaign, now that you're back as Citizen Floyd? What have you been doing?
Well, a lot of things, right? Whatever Mamie tell me to do before she go to work in the morning. And a lot of times the list she leave when she get back is still there. I got tired of. But I've been doing some volunteer things, which I've been doing. I do Meals on Wheels on Monday. That's my delivery day. And if somebody's out during that week, I'll go and fill in for them. I've been working quite a bit with helping them raise funds over at the Boys and Girls Club, because that's going to be a great facility over there. We did the donation. So me and Mamie got a bunch of letters out to individuals and asking them to donate to the center, because like I say, it's great to start something, but we got to sustain it. It's going to be a great place because we need things for extracurricular activities for our young people, where they are structured real well and they can get the positive influence and have time to just socialize. And this is what's going to happen over at the Boys and Girls Club. So that's why I've been volunteering with Miss Mill over there, helping try to raise some funds there. Also, I'm going to be working with the Greenwood Promise. They're getting ready to start their second phase, raising funds to help kids with the 4-year degree and everything. So I'm going to get involved with them. I'm on a conference call, Zoom call Thursday morning with 10 at the top, that group. And I'm on the subcommittee, Safer Communities. So I'm going to be involved with the 10 at the top group doing those things. But Bill, I tell you, you do a great job with it. I tell you, you do an excellent job and everything. And I just commend you for the excellent job you did for the party, how the party has grown and everything, people joining in. And we're going to continue to grow, and we're going to get good people to run for office. And the main thing, we're going to get them elected. And we're going to turn our state around. But it's going to take us continuing to work. So that's why I'm staying involved in the community.
You know, I received some words of wisdom from your wife a few months back. We were texting each other, and I made a comment that it just seems like we never do enough. It's just, so much that we want to do. And she says, that's normal. You'll never feel like you do enough. So
that's exactly right. Just continue to do. Mm-hmm. That's right. It'll pay off.
That's right.
We're going to see the change too. We really are.
So I have one final question for you.
Okay.
What is your outlook for the future at this point, and how are preparations going for the launch of your campaign to be the next governor of South Carolina? How's that coming along?
You know what, Bill, that is coming along great, because we launched it and it blew up, so we're not going to relaunch. I'm working. Whoever the next one will be, I'm here to help them. But as far as me, no.
No? Okay. Sometimes I feel like I can trick people into running for an office without them knowing it.
My kids told me back Thanksgiving we were together, and they said, Daddy, 38 years is long enough. 11 city council, 14 mayor, 12. He said 38 is long enough. My twins say ever since we were 3 years old, they 41 now. And Michael said, all of my life. So it's time for you just to step back. You can stay involved in the community, but I think you've given enough as far in the political arena as being elected also. But there are still other things you can do besides being elected.
Yeah, but just try it out. Governor Floyd Nicholson. Doesn't that just roll off the tongue?
It rolls off so good,
Do you have any final statements or comments you'd like to make to the Greenwood Democrats and others throughout the state, by the way? We're getting people watching from other counties here on our breakfast meetings. So do you have any final statements you'd like to make before we depart?
I just want to encourage people to get involved with the Greenwood Democratic Party and State Democratic Party, and offer yourself to run for office. And if you're going to do it, get involved in the community, get out in the community. We need good people. Don't sit back and say, I can't do it because, hey, when I was growing up, I would have never thought I could do it. But there's a path. There's a determination. But you make it up in your mind as something that you want to do, and you work for it. So, and we will be here to help you in any way possible. And Bill, thank you for the great job you do. Thank you, members of the Greenwood Democratic Democratic Party, we are growing. We're making a difference in our community. The state party, we're making a difference in the state. And we are going to continue to make a difference because we are the party for the people. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you again, Senator Floyd. The things you've done for us as the Greenwood Democrats, I also hear you have been very generous for the young Democrats of Greenwood, and you know they're going to grow in good part due to your influence on them. So that's just great. We got to look for that future generation to continue filling that pipeline.
Yes, we will. Enjoy the bill. Thank you very much.
Have a good morning.
All right. Thank you.